Let's everybody take a deep breath, and we're just going to close our eyes. This is Sue Frederick's Cultivating a Courageous Heart, Class 2. So let's breathe in the courage of the divine realms, that place where our souls feel wide open and connected and free, where our souls feel like we're walking on the beach with not a care in the world, knowing we're all connected, taking each other's hands, seeing our soul posses around us, our departed loved ones that we love so much walking with us, putting perhaps a jacket or a cloak on our backs to comfort us as we walk, knowing that we all walk these journeys together to help ourselves and everyone else evolve, and that having a courageous heart is a primary ingredient in shifting our human consciousness into more love and more compassion, and merging our human realm with our divine realm, where there will be no more separation between these realms. And so it is. So I'm so happy to see everybody. And tonight, one of the things we're going to do is share our courage journals. And I think what we're going to do also is that if you don't want to share it on the recording, I will pause the recording first for people who don't feel comfortable sharing on the recording. And then I just want to get a couple of the stories on the recording just to help anybody who might be listening. So I guess I'll share on the recording one from our courage journal. Your homework was to try to do 3 courageous acts this week and report back about them. And and everybody's things will be different because everybody has a different understanding or feeling about what courage is in their life. But here's something about me that you may not know, is that I am a complete introvert, and I am an empath, so I'm very, very sensitive. And what that means is that when I'm working, that when I'm working and seeing clients, I'm very happy that I'm at home and they're at their home, and that we're not together, that it's really me at home working and then writing and then teaching at home. And I haven't really shared that with a lot of people, but I'm most comfortable kind of alone. And I've always been a writer and a meditator. And going out in the world is always kind of, it's hard to get me out of the house. But once I go out, I work on opening my heart and all that stuff. And then I usually have a good connection, usually. And then this week I decided for courage that what I would do is force myself to go out to a couple of little meetings with people, and even some friends here in Phoenix that I never see in person. And I had a lot of work to do too, because I got a version of my book back from the copy editor, and I had to go through every change and say yes or no. And so I was overwhelmed with work, but that has historically been my excuse for not going out in the world. And people would say, "Would you meet me for coffee?" And I'd say, "Oh, I got this book I'm working on, I got clients," and all those things are true, but still I wouldn't go out. And so this week, every single day, I left the house. I know you guys are laughing at me because it sounds so weird, but it was really a courageous thing for me. And I had such a good time. I got to have one morning, I had coffee with the Helping Parents Heal moms. And oh God, that's like heaven. That's not hard at all. But believe it or not, it was kind of hard to get out of the house because I was like, oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I got to wash my hair. Oh, I have too much work. And then I finally dragged myself out and had the best morning with those ladies. And then some other women that I know from Unity of Phoenix that I never see outside of church, and I got to see them. So what I learned from all that is that when I can force myself to go out in the world and shut up my little excuses that just go on in my head constantly, it usually raises my vibration. And then I come home kind of better able to do my work, because then I've been out, I've done something, and now I can go back to the book and copy editing and all that stuff. So those were my courageous acts this week. And I hope you guys don't laugh at me about that too much. And before I pause the recording, is there anyone who wants to comment on that or add to it or share?
Does it, when you go speak at Unity, are you
See,
kind of nervous about that?
That's such a good question, Gloria, because when I go out to speak at a church, I am all excited about it because it's not me going and trying to make small talk social situation stuff, In fact, when and if I go to Unity in Phoenix and and I don't have a job, like I'm not speaking that day, or I'm not platforming, or I'm not teaching, I feel very awkward and shy. And even like last Sunday at Unity of Phoenix, it was community day afterwards. And so I went to the service, and I have my ladies I sit with, Verl and Kate and Julie and everybody. And so they make me feel comfortable. And then we all went outside, and there were like corn dogs and tables and everything. And I was like, I just want to run to my car and go home. But my friend said, no, come on, let's go get some food and then go sit at a table. And I did. And I ended up going and sitting with this big table of people, and everybody was laughing, and it was so fun. And and I came home just going, my God, Sue, you are so pitiful sometimes. That's just so sad that you're like that. But if you put me on a stage, see, that's not Sue Frederick having to make conversation. That's me channeling in stuff from the divine. So that feels totally different. It's almost like acting on a stage. Like if you're an actor, a lot of actors are very shy. But when they're on the stage, it's not them, That's kind of how it feels to me. Anyway, no, you guys are going to make me just sit here and feel stupid, huh?
No, I go to I go to two churches, the Unity and then New Vision Center. You know where that is?
Yeah, I've been wanting to try that. Yeah.
I really like that, but that's so much smaller that I'm kind of like you. You have to, at Unity, you can just be by yourself, and
that's
maybe
right.
If I see somebody, I can wave. But but over there, it's so much smaller.
Hey, Gloria, why don't we make a date to go to the New Visions together? Because I've never had the courage to go by myself.
Yeah. They have two wonderful lady ministers that talk. Yeah,
I've watched some of their videos. Yeah. Well, good. So we have a date. Please hold me to that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So you guys want me to pause and then you'll share? What's the verdict here? Gail?
I'll share.
All right.
I'll share.
Gail. Okay.
I'm an introvert too, you know that.
I do.
Even having to speak out now, my heart, like I get nervous, and that's why doing your podcast took so much courage. I was thinking of something.
And look at how great you were, Gail, in that podcast. Like everyone has raved about that podcast you did with me.
Yeah, and I know it took almost a year. You had to ask me 3 times before I said yes. But I was glad in hindsight, that I did it. But so something that happened this week that I found courageous is kind of an interesting story that I'll share. So Monday morning I had gotten up, and before I get out of bed, I always kind of tune in and do a little meditation. And Jake came into me and he said to reach out to his friend Sam's mom, Polly. Now, to give you a little backstory, this boy, Sam, had been in the same fraternity as Jake, but they didn't know each other. Sam passed away the semester before Jake joined the fraternity. But Jake was always very touched by the story, and he even wore Sam's wristband. All the boys at the fraternity had made wristbands. Oh. Actually, my son was buried wearing Sam's wristband. So he passed, my son's been over 5 years. So shortly after I joined Helping Parents Heal, I somehow found Polly, Sam's mom, because she's in Helping Parents Heal, and I reached out to her and I introduced myself. And I told her, that I knew her through my son had known of Sam, although they didn't know each other physically. And so I haven't talked to her in like probably 3 or 4 years. But Monday morning I woke up and Jake said to me, reach out to Polly. And I thought, I'm not going to reach out to her. She probably doesn't even remember me. It's been like 3,
That's
4
what the
years.
monkey mind does to us, right?
And
And it
she's going to think
shuts.
I'm crazy, like out of the
Yes,
blue.
right.
Like, but I looked in my, he was persistent. So I looked at my phone. I still had her phone number in my contacts. So at like 7:40 in the morning on Monday morning, I reached out to Polly and I sent her a little text saying, hi, I'm Jake's mom, and Jake and Sam knew each other. Well, Jake knew of Sam from WVU and blah, blah, blah. And I said, Jake's telling me I need to reach out to you today. And I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you and I'm sending you my love. And I was so scared to send it because I'm like, she's going to think I'm crazy. She literally wrote back like 5 minutes later and said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She said, today's Sam's angelversary, and tomorrow is Sam's birthday.
Oh God.
And she said, it's been 6 years. And she said, it just means so much that you're thinking of me, and thank you for saying his name. And then we had, an exchange back and forth. And it just, I was like, so touched.
Yes, but this is how amazing Jake is, and this is how cool it is when we trust those intuitive nudges.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that I trusted him. So
you trusted what Jake told you to do. And yes, your mind was going to say, oh, well, it's crazy. She won't remember me, blah, 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 blah. The monkey mind will always do that to us. But your beautiful heart said, well, Jake has never steered me wrong. So I'm going to trust Jake.
Yep. So after that, I came in his room and I laid on his bed. I did my meditation, and then I was doing my writing, and he popped in again. He's like, that's what you did. That was courageous this week. That's what you have to talk about.
Oh, yay. We love that so much, Gail. And we love Jake. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was a perfect story. Thank you so much.
Thanks for letting me share. Thank you.
And the whole time I was thinking about being shy, I was thinking of you, Gail, because I know you're the same way. And we've talked about this, how we could go for months without ever leaving the house,
Totally.
And
I always say to my daughter, I don't really like people. I just like my people.
And COVID made it worse, because COVID made it so that we had a valid excuse to never leave the house,
Exactly.
Well, this is another reason why we have to have a beach retreat and all get together and walk the beach and so many things I love about your story, because when it was Carol's birthday this week, Carol Allen, one of the moms from Helping Parents Heal, who I adore, and she, her beautiful son, Tyler, comes through to me all the time because I've done a session with Carol, and he's wild. Like, he showed up in an orb on my patio one day, and so when I went to pick out a present for Carol, I was thinking, gosh, she's so beautiful. She wears all this beautiful jewelry. Like, what do you get for somebody like that? And I was looking through some different choices, and Tyler clearly said to me, no, that one. And he like pointed to one, and I was like, but that's not really gold, and it's not that expensive. But he was like, yes, that's the one. And he just kept making it very clear. So I bought that for Carol, and I was even a little embarrassed, like it's not that expensive and everything. And so I wrapped it up and I brought it to her little birthday, and she opened it and she cried. And she talked about the meaning of, there's a tree of life in the necklace, and the meaning of that for her and what it has to do with Tyler, which I had no idea of. And she put it on with her clothes and was taking pictures and just telling me how much it meant. This is like a very inexpensive thing I got on Amazon, and on her it looked like $1 million, And again, I told Carol, I said, look, Tyler picked it out. I'd really like to take credit for it, but Tyler really told me that that's what you were going to like. And at least in the Helping Parents Heal group, we know that people aren't going to think we're crazy when we tell them that departed loved ones are picking out birthday presents,
Totally.
Oh gosh, I love you guys so much. Okay, anybody else want to share before I pause the recording? Okay. Oh, Kathy. Okay.
Share. So it won't sound super brave, but it felt kind of brave in the moment. In my workplace, I'm a secretary in the front office of a school.
Mhm.
So I'm an unretired person. I retired and then I unretired about a year ago. And so this job is quite stressful.
Mm.
And there's another secretary and we work side by side. And we just started working together in June. And our personalities have really struggled with each other, really grating on each other and almost, it was really difficult. And both of us in this kind of the same way. And when we would get under stress, there would be kind of barking and so one afternoon, maybe about a week ago, she said something to me, the way you're speaking to me is really making me not want to be that nice to you. And so we were, and I didn't get mad. We just kind of stayed calm and we were just telling each other back and forth how we felt, but
Yeah.
it didn't really get resolved. We got interrupted. And I kept thinking about it. And then, so after one of the assignments was to do something courageous, I thought, boy, I really want to go back with her and kind of resume this dialogue and, get it to a place, a resolution or something, because it's so uncomfortable. And we were both professional and able to work together, but we were both kind of like feeling this discomfort and
Mhm.
tension. And so, so it kind of turned out that after she brought this up, it felt like we both kind of reset things. And
Oh,
so
good.
I decided I was going to let her know that I appreciated the fact that she was brave enough to do that. And so I did. It was kind of in an organic moment. I didn't make a big deal out of it. We had a little lull in the activity.
Mhm.
And I just went over to her and I said, I just want to let you know that I really appreciated that you brought up what's been going on in our relationship. And I said, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And you did it. I want to thank you. And she
Kathy,
just
that
looked
was
at
so
me,
courageous.
and it felt really good and natural. I didn't even have to like work up to it, like, oh, should I do it now or whatever. I just like was a moment. I went over, I said it. And so we're getting along much, much better. I think we both, like I said, it feels like we kind of reset it.
Yeah.
And we both, at least I feel like our personalities are just pinging off each other and triggering each other. And now it's just kind of, okay, I kind of know what not to push and how to, adjust my tendencies to respond to things
Yeah.
in a certain way that was aggravating her. So anyway,
Thank
I
you.
felt, I think it really helped.
You did the most courageous thing, which is to move forward into a conflict situation to try to resolve it. That takes so much courage, because our minds will always say, oh, just don't touch it, just do your job and go home.
I was scared it was going to get worse because sometimes you feel like, you get so upset, you'll just burst out and then you go, why did I say that? That's not what I meant, but it flowed out. So it worked out well.
Beautiful. Well, that's a perfect example. Anybody else before I hit pause? Lydia, really? Okay, great.
Okay. I know. Well, I'd like to share a couple things. The first thing, I am also an introvert. I don't often like to share in large groups.
Mhm.
This is a smaller group, so I don't feel as,
Mhm.
cautious, but even typically if there's more than 2 or 3 people, I have a really hard time.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But so talking in groups is brave, but right. Okay. So I wanted to comment on your earlier comment about sharing and it being recorded. I'm okay with it being recorded. And I'm okay with it being shared. I think so I reached out to you today. So I kind of sat, I was like, I don't know if I should reach out or should I reach out?
Well, I was
So
glad that you did.
that was like a
Yeah.
brave moment, because in my mind, I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to hate me. Like, she is going to hate me. She's not going to like me. Like, I'm being a nuisance. Like, all these monkey mind thoughts were coming
Right.
through my head.
Right.
And I thought, no, you need to, it's okay. You need to just be brave, and she's going to understand. Like, she's kind. So, you know, but we don't really know each other. So then I wasn't sure. So, it's not so the only thing that I think I felt cautious around was sharing my full name and where I lived, right?
Mhm.
In the first video, in the first recording. And that was the only thing that was really, you know, I
Mhm.
think,
Did you share your full name though? Because I only think I called you Lydia.
yeah, you only called me Lydia. I did say my full name. It was me,
Okay.
not really thinking about it. Right.
Ah,
So
got it.
that's where I went back. And then I said, so yes.
Well,
So
I
I think-
admire you for being courageous and reaching out and telling me you were concerned about the recordings, because then I had to figure out, well, how do we do this in a way that works for everyone? And so it helped me realize I can hit that pause button any moment, you know, and also to be very careful that I only use people's first names. You know, and they can't see you. Like, I have a setting set
right.
up on the video so they can only see me, and that's why I have it set up that way. But also just know, you know, it's an unlisted video, so really it would have to be someone in this group sending it out to somebody. And like, until we have like Marianne Williamson taking our classes, you know, like, I don't think there's very many people that will ever see these, but I understand. And I'm so glad you reached out. And so I will pause right after we hear from whoever wants to share. And then whoever doesn't want that on the recording, I'll hit pause and we have a solution. And I wouldn't have that if you hadn't reached out to me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no. And so I'm just speaking to it because I was worried that it would be misunderstood,
Oh,
right? Or worried that but that was the only piece that
Lydia,
I thought.
I've done a session with you. I love you. You're in my soul posse. Don't worry. Okay.
I have a very active monkey mind. Let me
I
tell you.
know we all do.
Amen.
If you could just hear mine before I'm trying to get ready to go out and I'm looking in the mirror, you know, like, oh my God, Sue, you look like such an old lady. Are you sure you want to go out and see these people, you know? And I have to like step back from that monkey mind and just, you know, we have to meditate every day. That's so helpful. But sometimes when I'm getting dressed to leave the house, I have to literally say an Om Namah Shivaya nonstop to get me out of the house, so that I can drown out my self-doubt, you know, about going out in public as an old lady. I mean, that's how sad it is. That's the tape that runs in my head. And I'm sharing it because this is a courage class.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for sharing that.
I think I'm going to get you a new mirror because you've got to look at it another perspective. Come on.
No, this is the lighting, Mary Ellen. I just want you to know that when you're on Zoom, you can set the lighting up so you look 20 years younger. That's why, you know. Catherine, so what we're talking about is our courage journals, that we're supposed to do something courageous. We were all supposed to do something courageous this week and report back about how it felt. And so Gail talked about her courageous act, and Lydia just talked about hers, and I talked about mine. And is there anything else? Catherine, would you like to share what you did for your 3 courageous things this week? Or not? I mean, I can pause the video if you want, or you can text. She's chatting in the chat box. Okay, well, I think I'll hit pause. Okay, so before we do a little guided meditation, I wanted to talk about a few things that this week were coming up for me as areas that we need to, all of us, bring a lot of courage to. And these things have been sort of even covered in our conversations that we just had off the recording. And one is trusting our intuition and, knowing that when we get that nudge to do something, even if it's illogical, impractical, all of that stuff, that our intuition is always flawlessly guiding us. And so if we act on that intuition, it takes courage. And that's very important for leading a happy, healthy life, is to trust that intuition and act on it. And the second thing that I really think takes a lot of courage these days is trusting in the goodness and godness of this universe. So, for example, we might look out at the world and see all these hard things happening, all these painful events in the world. And our monkey mind wants to say, well, the world is falling apart. There's not going to be a good ending to this. Maybe we're headed for a war, like all of that thought about the world not being in a good place. And yet our soul, in the first class, I talked about how unity defines courage as constantly believing in the goodness of this universe, no matter how things appear to be going, and holding on to that courage. And as Pope Francis, I grew up Catholic, but I did read his call to holiness, and I actually wrote a whole talk about it. And what I thought was so fascinating was Pope Francis said that these times are so troubling that we're all being called to live in constant prayer. And to me, that means to live in the constant awareness that God is still running this universe, God the good, and that if we can see and trust that divine order, we are then living with a courageous heart. And that can be very hard sometimes. And then intuition, trusting in the goodness. Oh, and trusting that there is always a divine solution. So have you ever noticed that when you're facing a really difficult challenge, your mind is going to go, there's no solution to this. This will never end. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. And yet your soul, your heart is over here saying, there is a solution. Take a breath, pause, call out for guidance, and a solution will appear, and it will be something that you haven't thought of, and it will open the pathway for grace and for moving forward. And I do know that every challenge we face, if we give it a minute, if we pause, if we bring it to prayer, if we bring it to our godness, that we will find an opening. Some solution will appear that didn't seem possible. And even knowing some of you and your situations that you faced in the last year or so, I can say, some of you had a little God miracle happen, even though it might not have looked at like it in the moment of it happening. And now your life is in a better place because of that. And so trusting that somehow there's always a little miracle. I had a friend once who said, there's always magic around the corner. You have to trust it. And that is so true, because we can't live courageously when we feel like we're on the edge of disaster every minute. And yet, if we trust that there's this little God magic around the corner, even if we can't see it, we don't know what it is, we don't understand it, then we will move gracefully with the flow. And Mary Ellen, you were saying in the first meeting that the thing that got you through the challenges of the past year was thinking about the flow of the water, that there's always a rock or an obstacle, but the water finds its way, finds its flow around it. And so the non-resistance is saying, I'm going to go with the flow of this situation because I trust that God the good is bringing me to a positive resolution of it. So those are my thoughts on areas in our life that need courage. And now I'm going to guide us on a little soul review about our courageous life. And this will only take a few minutes, but it's a good meditation, because when we cross, and even sometimes when we just leave our bodies in dreams and in dream visions and in near-death experiences, and I often call them near-life experiences, when you still are alive, but your soul has lifted up and gotten a different perspective. You know, one of the things we evaluate ourselves about at the end of a life is, you know, did I live courageously? Did I open my heart and love anyway? Did I not hunker down and be afraid and close my heart? Because our soul wants us to shine here. Our soul wants us to be brave and courageous and live up to our great potential and fulfill our soul mission. So it's really good to do little mini soul reviews every now and then to just check in and see how you're doing. So go with me on this one, and let's everybody just mute yourself, and I will guide us on this. Okay, so everybody close your eyes and let's take a deep breath. And as we inhale, we're inhaling our higher consciousness, our soul's awareness, the powerful, beautiful part of ourselves that is not hindered and limited by the physical self, by the ego mind, by the monkey mind. And so again, we inhale that higher consciousness, and we exhale all of our limitations, our anxieties, and our fears. And now just imagine this beautiful golden globe of light above your head, above your crown chakra. And the gold color is the color of your divine essence as a soul, just this shimmering, beautiful, elevated vibration of gold. And as this golden globe of light moves down through your crown chakra, it moves into your mind, spinning and releasing all negative thoughts, all fear-based ideas, all ego consciousness, just released and replaced with golden, beautiful, higher consciousness light. And now this golden globe moves down through the face, relaxing tension in the eyes, in the cheeks, in the mouth, allowing yourself to realign with your higher self and release all limitations of the flesh, of the human. And the golden globe moves down through the throat, spinning and purifying all the words that we speak all day, just releasing, opening, relaxing, replacing with your God consciousness. And the golden globe moves down through the chest, expanding your breath, allowing you to receive love, to be open to that divine love that heals us, that fills us up so much more than love of the humankind can do. And we open to that divine golden love washing through us and moving down, expanding the rib cage, releasing the abdomen, relaxing it, opening the hips, and pushing any anxiety, fear, tension, or sense of not being good enough, just releasing it all, because the golden consciousness of your soul knows no self-doubt, knows no limitations. And this golden light moves down through the upper thighs and the knees and the lower legs. And now all human attachment and limited ideas are released through the bottoms of the feet. And now this golden light lifts us up above this physical world. And as our soul begins to lift up, we know that we're going to go and have a conversation with our primary spirit guides who help us, guide us through every lifetime. So we're going to walk up these beautiful stairs to heaven. There are 10 beautiful stairs unfolding in front of you. You can picture them and see them however you want them to look. And take your hand and put your hand on the railing. And then step up on step 1 and take a breath. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and we're halfway there. We're feeling light. We're already feeling lighter than we felt in our bodies. free of our worries. And step 6, and step 7, and step 8, and step 9, and step 10. And now we are standing in that beautiful tunnel of light that we've traveled between in every lifetime. And we're moving towards the light because it will bring us into the opening of the divine realms where we meet with our guides and our departed loved ones. And so we walk through that tunnel as we've done so many times between lives 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. And now we emerge into the brilliant light of the divine realms, our home between lives, the home where we bask in spiritual wisdom and love, unconditional divine love. Just breathe it in. It's so much richer and deeper and more fulfilling and more beautiful than here on earth. And now you're sitting in this circle with your beloveds and your guides. And you're going to, spirit guide is holding your arms and wrapping you in love, and angels are with you. And you're saying, now, please show me my life so far and how I've been fulfilling my life plan and what areas I need to work on. And so in this moment, your guide, you can feel them next to you. They are showing you your life story, almost as if you're watching a movie. And you can see yourself as a young child in your childhood, anxious and aware that you are a divine being, trying to find your footing in this physical world, squeezing your enormous soul consciousness down into the small body of a baby and a young child, learning to navigate the physical world, being courageous enough to learn to walk, even though you fell down all the time, and getting back up again, and then running and learning that you could be powerful here in your own ways as a child. And watch the moments of your life that might have been painful. Someone might have hurt you, and see how you courageously kept going after that, how you realized in a higher part of yourself that that was somehow a challenge that was going to serve your growth eventually. And so you kept going and looking for the light. And you can see yourself getting a little older, moving into those teenage years when perhaps the self-doubt was creeping in that comes with the human experience, and how you still found a way to be courageous and go out into the world and try to get through school and friend groups and keep trying. And sometimes you held your pain inside, and sometimes you shared it, and sometimes you may have acted out, but you are always on this beautiful journey of a soul's evolution. And your guide is whispering to you, do you see that moment that was so tough? Do you see how it broke you open, and how you began to get up and keep trying anyway? Embrace that moment. That was a beautiful, courageous act. And then your guide is whispering, do you see how that person never loved you and never treated you right? And you found ways and moments to love them anyway. That was so courageous of you. Well done, says your spirit guide. And now you watch the movie as you moved into your 20s and 30s, getting out in the world and having to learn the game here of how do we make money, or how do we run a family and a household and have children, or any of those challenges that your soul took on. Take a moment to look at those moments and see how courageous you were. Perhaps one of your children was sick and you kept trying to take care of them and trying to help them, and kept going looking for answers. Or perhaps you didn't get to have love in your 20s or a family, and you found your courage by finding a way to feel powerful in a job, in a career. Look at the courage you brought to that. And now keep reviewing your life as you move up into your current age, and silently reflect on it, and reflect on the moments where you were very courageous, and ask your spirit guide to whisper into your ear and tell you moments when you might have done better, and tell those moments to you with unconditional love and support, just to help you see how you want to move forward. And let's be in the silence for a moment and see that and feel it and hear it. And this is your chance to ask your guides and your angels how you could have done better and what guidance they have for you moving forward. And now listen, be in the silence and listen. And now, as we get ready to return back to our present lives, you can look around this circle of loved ones in the divine realms, your departed loved ones, your soul posse, your spirit guides, your angels, and just say, is there anything you all want to tell me with pure love, in a loving, unconditional way that will help me return to my life with more courage in every area of my life so that I can do better and fulfill my potential? And now listen, you might see each of them come up and love on you and whisper something in your ear. So be with that for a moment. And now you can thank all of your loved ones, your guides and your angels for their support and their insight, and promise them that you will live more courageously and fulfill your mission here on earth. And hug on them, love them, send them gratitude. And then turn and let's walk back to the opening of the tunnel. And now we're walking back through the tunnel towards the stairs. 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And now we're at the top of the stairs. Grab hold of that railing. And as we take the 10 stairs down, you'll be slowly moving back into your full physical self and your human consciousness. 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And now shake your arms and legs and come fully back into your physical self. And know that you will consciously remember now what you experienced there. And if you have a pen and paper, you can take a moment and write whatever you heard that you want to remember, or whatever you experienced that you want to remember. Would anyone like to share if they had some insight from that? All right, Gloria.
Yeah. I realized how courageous my parents were.
Mhm.
You know, I guess I knew my dad was, because he fought in World War II and all that, but I never, and he lived to be 97, but he was courageous way to the end.
Mhm.
And my mother died quite young at 56, but she was very, very courageous her whole life. Her first husband was killed and she had 2 little babies.
Wow.
And then she died. I mean, she raised 9 more of us with my dad. And then she had to show us how to die, basically, is what she did.
And what about you, Gloria? What did you see? Did you see things in your life about how courageous you've been?
Oh, a few times, yeah.
Good.
Some not so good.
But that's okay. I mean, did you feel that the things you saw there will help you be more of who you want to be moving forward?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the meditation was good. I also feel like I can climb those steps again when I want to.
Very good. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the recording, so you can go back and listen to that and go
Well, I
on
might
that.
not need the recording even, you know?
That's right. That's right. All right. Anybody else want to share their experience with that, or insights or questions? Okay. Well, for our homework this week, continue with your courage journal. And I'd like you to kind of dig deep and think about what is the courageous conversation you need to have with yourself. What things do you need to tell yourself that you need to live more courageously about? And you know, they might be hard conversations you need to have with someone else as well. And so maybe write a letter to them the way that Mary Ellen helped me see that I can write to my mom, just to open that energetic conversation. The other thing is, be in your courage journal. You could also write about what parts of the world maybe worries you or concerns you, and how you could bring more loving courage to your future image of the world. So think of it this way. If a lot of people are worried that there's going to be some sort of civil war or something, we're giving that energy. So how can we courageously see this world as everyone getting along? I mean, I almost laugh when I say that, but just, yes, we have to pump that courageous image, that courageous idea that there could be a future coming up where we're all just loving on each other here on earth the way we do in the divine realms. And we're not arguing about ideas or philosophies. And we are living with a courageous, open heart. Can you really imagine a world like that? Because we have to imagine it in order for it to come into being. So you can even write how you would see that world behaving in your courage journal. And I really do hope you have a journal that you've written specifically on it, my courage journal, because this would continue long past this class, that you can always be taking notes of things in your life that you need to bring more courage to, and how you've faced things with more courage this week. And because you guys did so well with your 3 courageous acts last week, I'm going to ask you to do 3 more. So if you can, do 3 more courageous acts this week, and then we'll inspire each other next week by sharing them. off recording. So, all right. So let me just pray us out really quick. So we're taking a breath and we're breathing into gratitude right now. Gratitude for coming together to encourage. Oh, that's great. Encourage each other to be courageous. And as we encourage each other to live with more courage, we shift this world into its open-hearted, loving, compassionate possibility, which we all carry the power to create. And so it is. Thank you so much. And I love you all. And I'll send you out the email with the recording and you can email me any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.